Welcome to this video on creating reports. We're going to go into detail on creating reports within the app. I'm running a simulator of BizXpenseTracker, but everything we're going to talk about is applicable to XpenseTracker, MileTracker, and TimeTracker. All four apps is covered by the creating reports that we're going to be talking about. So, first things first, to create a report, you would go into the log view screen and then tap on the log you wish to create a report for. So this log is not too interesting, but for demonstration purposes, it shows what we need. We have an expense. You would have more than one expense, likely. You tap on options. And here is where we have two choices, email or export. You're asking what's the difference between email and export. Email allows you to create a report and send that report via email as an attachment file. So the actual report and any photo receipts associated with that report will be attached to the email. You're prompted to queue the email, and then the built-in mail app will send that email. Now, I get some tech support questions from time to time about, I'm not getting my email through. Well, here's the possible reasons. One is that the email is too big. Emails can be maximum of 20 megabytes. So if you have a report with lots and lots of photo receipts, the email will different email services handle this differently. They're either rejected, they're just ignored, whatever. If you have a report with many photo receipts, it's possible that it's too big, and that's a limitation of the email service, 20 megabytes. It's pretty typical. You'd want to use export, and we'll get into that soon. The other possibility is that the email, when you create an email via our app, apps are given options to only use what is called the default email account. So if you have an email account and it happens to be the default, it may not be the same one you use every day. The default one may not be the same one. It could be just some email account you created, never set up, and that might be set up as the default because it was the last one you created. And if it hasn't been set up to send emails, your emails will just get queued in that account and never get out. So the solution to that is go into settings, then go into the mail section, and make sure you don't have any accounts you don't use. And of the accounts you use, make sure the one you want to use by our app is set to the default email account. And I guess that's enough with that. So let's tap on email and take a look at this screen. So at the very top there's a format, and there's 4 different formats, but the only 2 formats you really want to spend time on, really take a look at, is CSV and PDF. Those are the 2 reports formats that you really want to pay attention to. CSV stands for comma separated value, and that's the standard file input to spreadsheets like Excel. So if you want to create a report that you are going to then import into Excel, you create a CSV report. And CSV is what I call a raw format. It's basically rows and columns. The columns are the fields, and the rows are each entry. Each entry in your data is a row. And when you import into Excel, that's all it's going to be. So any formatting, post-formatting, you're going to have to do within Excel. Whereas PDF, on the other hand, creates an attractive finished report. And that report is based on a template. And the app, if you tap on the template field, the app includes dozens of different templates, one of which I hope will fulfill your needs. Now, if it doesn't fulfill your needs, we do have a power user add-on called Ultimate Custom Reports, which allow you to take one of these reports and customize it to the way you like it, or create a template from scratch. Either way, it's a power user feature. It allows companies with unique requirements to use the app, which we have quite a bit of occurring now. But if you are in the need of a custom template, you can do that yourself. Buy the custom templates add-on, and then go from there. We have some videos to describe. There's 2 videos already. That we have one that describes many of the templates shown here, and another video showing you how to use the ultimate custom feature. If you do purchase that add-on, beside each template will be an edit button. Tapping on the edit button will then allow you to you can't edit an existing template, but you can duplicate an existing template, one of the factory templates, and then work from there. So that's enough with templates. Let's take a look at some of the other features. The company logo, you can select a photo from your photo library to include in the PDF report. Body categories is a method to filter out certain categories. So if by default it's automatic, it'll include all of the entries, but if you select a manual, you can choose certain categories to include, so you can actually really focus on the report. We'll just leave it at automatic. Advance is an amount you enter if your company provides you a cash advance, and say your expenses add up to $1,000 and the company has given you a $200 cash advance. At the very bottom of the PDF report is a grand total, and it'll show the due employee $800, showing you the subtraction of the $200 that the company gave. There are additional further filtering here. You can filter by date, so instead of including all of August, you can include only portions of August. But remember, this date filter applies to the entries within the log. If you say last month and you don't have any entries in this log for last month, it's not going to show anything. It's going to result in no entries. So this filter applies to the entries in this log. I'll show you in a moment how to apply a filter to all of the entries, which is sometimes something you want to do. Further filtering by payment, merchant, client. There are a lot of other fields that you can turn on inside of the apps. For instance, a project field. So if you have a project field, you can enable that in the preferences, and if you're using the project field, you can filter by project, and I'll show that. By default, project is turned off. And then here's an interesting feature, the photo receipts. As we talked about email, the photos will be included as attachments. If you select JPEG, each image will be included as a JPEG image. You can select small, medium, or full. This refers to the file size, not the actual size of the image, but the size of the file. So images, as you might know, can be compressed and without losing the fidelity, the quality of the photo. And if you select small, what that does is allow you to include more photos in your email. So instead of the photos taking up, say, 800K a photo, they might only take up a couple hundred. So you can get that many photos in an email without reaching that 20 megabyte limit that we talked about before. Include files, one of the key, very neat features, and not known as well as I like it to be known, is the link files feature. You can learn about that by going on to our website, going to silverwaresoftware.com/files.html, and files with a capital F. And what you can do is you can link files to entries, which is very cool. And if you turn this on, those files, any link files, will be included in the email as attachments. So that's that. There is another feature which I passed on, which is this feature. This is in version 9 and above, which is you can actually name the file, and this is optional, and you can take a look at that at your leisure. Now, with email, there's an option to preview. So if you can preview or go right to email. If you go to email, you're going to be filling out the email, the addressee, the recipient, I mean, and if you go preview, it'll show it right on the screen. Now, I want to talk about this field, this option, which is Set CSV Report Fields. This allows you to set the fields you want included in the CSV report. This is quite often an overlooked feature. So if you're creating a CSV report because you're importing into Excel or Numbers or whatever spreadsheet you're using, and you don't see the field in the report, it's because you only have these selected. So let's say you want to include merchant. Tap on merchant, and then that particular field will be included. So we go back and we'll go into it again, and you see it there at the top. Now, very cool, and this is another feature which is not too well known, is that you can actually reorder. So as in CSV, the columns going from left to right would be date, description, currency. But let's say we want the category before the currency. We can tap on that, hold it, drag it, and release it. And then this is the order. Well, this is the order in which the fields will appear. Any ones with checks will appear. Anyone with no checks will not appear. Lots of files, lots of fields, plenty of fields. In fact, every field you can think of is included in here. And that only pertains to the CSV reports. Now, if you're in a log, when you make this change, this only pertains to this log. If you want to make this setting for all new logs, you just flip that on and save it. And then this setting will be propagated not only to this log, but also any new logs you create. Very, very useful there. Now that's email. Now, if we do export, wow, looks pretty much the same. In fact, it is the same. But what it's going to do is I'm going to cancel this, go back, go into preference. Export is going to honor this setting here. Now with export, you can export via Wi-Fi, Dropbox, or Box. You can't export to iCloud for the very reason that iCloud, you can't see the files. It's sort of invisible. With Wi-Fi, what that does is allows you to send the files via Wi-Fi. And when we talk about what Wi-Fi in the backup and restore video, but Wi-Fi, and we show it in how you do it and everything, and you might want to look at that, but for time we're just going to talk about it. Wi-Fi allows you to send the file via Wi-Fi to your desktop computer, PC or Mac, via your web browser. A requirement is that both the desktop computer or laptop needs to be connected to the same Wi-Fi as your device. And what you do is you select Wi-Fi, you save, you do export, you hit export, and you enter this web address into your web browser. It's 4 numbers separated by periods. It's the IP, also known as the IP address, followed by :8080. You enter that in, and you'll get a screen with our company logo and Silverware logo and the app logo you're using, and it'll walk you through and show you how you can get those files sent to your computer. And those files will be the report and all the images, and if you have files turned on, it'll be the files. Very, very quick and useful. That's export. Let's go back to preference. So we also have the ability to do Dropbox and Box. If you're using BizXpenseTracker, you will see Dropbox and Box as an option. If you're using any of the 3 other tracker apps, XpenseTracker, MileTracker, or TimeTracker, that feature is available as an add-on. It's a $1 add-on that you can purchase, and then you can send your reports to Dropbox. Very convenient if you're a Dropbox user, and very, very, very quick. You can just send it over the network. Files get placed onto your Dropbox, and if you're a Dropbox or Box user, you're familiar that those are all mirrored onto your laptop. They're mirrored onto your Dropbox and Box account, so very, very useful. That's export. Now we talked about creating reports on a per log basis, but what happens if you want to create a report based on all of your data or a portion of all your data from many logs? There's a way to do it. And this is probably one of the features that is most overlooked, but can really get you into a situation where you can create a report that you didn't think you could create before. So for instance, you have 12 logs for the year. You have January, February, March, etc. And you want to create a year-end report. In this case, we only have one log, so it's not going to look much different, but take my word from it. You go to the log view screen, which is this screen here, lists all your logs. You tap on options and you select view entries from all logs. And what is that going to do? That's going to show all the entries from all the logs in one screen. So if you had 10 entries in 12 logs, you'd see 120 entries here, all listed here. So what can you do from this? Well, you can hit options and you can create email or export. Excellent. Doesn't matter whichever you use. Let's do export. And you select the template you want to create and say you want, from all those logs, you want a report from January 1 through December 31. There it is, showing what January, and it will create a report. So now, if your 12 logs only contain entries from January 1 to December 31st, it's not too interesting. But let's say you want to do a half-year report. This is very interesting. Change this to June 30th, and there you go. Though you have 120 entries, for instance, in all those, you're only going to get only the entries from January 1 to June 30th. So if you had to do a semi-annual report, or if you had to do a quarterly report, you could do it all through this simple filter. Now, here's all the other filters you can filter by. And you're saying everything looks the same except what is this group over here? Well, groups, I'll talk about this for a moment, and this might complicate things a little bit. Groups is not a widely used feature, but it might fulfill a need for you. And I'll explain to what groups are. So you've got logs. Above logs are groups. You tap on all logs, you see all your logs. So what you can do is, if you're really into organization and you really need to create logs, say you have two companies. You have company A and company B. You can create logs from company A and see all those logs and say, oh, I want to see only company B logs. In this case, there's none. But if you create logs in a group and then do this method of going options, view entries from all logs, options, export, you can choose a single group. So now in this case is business, you'll create a report, all the entries from all the logs that are logs only in that group business, and then you can do all kinds of further filtering. Now you're probably saying, wow, I'm seeing the flexibility of this app, and you can really do most anything with it. So once again, groups. It's hierarchical. Groups, well, I'll say logs are in groups, and inside of logs are entries. Okay? Once again, it's groups, logs, entries. And we require you to create logs. We require you to create at least one log, but we don't require you to do, you can have logs in just not assigned to a log. That's okay. If you use the log feature, use the group feature, then you're going to find a whole other level of organization that might fulfill your needs. So if that works, we have countless people using that, but I shouldn't say countless. It's I get the feeling that it's not as widely used feature, but those who use it love it. They wouldn't have it any other way. So. That's creating reports. You've learned about setting the preference for exporting. You've learned about creating reports within a log via email and export. You've learned the difference between CSV reports and PDF reports and all of the different customizations that you can do. This always happens when you're recording a video. You always forget one thing. I don't want to forget this because it's really important. In photo receipts, we talked about JPEG, but we didn't talk about PDF. So PDF is an awesomely cool feature in which a single file will contain all your photo receipts, and you can include them 1 per page, 4 per page, or 9 per page. And what's even cooler about PDF is that in the upper left-hand corner of each image will be a it's a stamp. It'll be a receipt number stamp and a date stamp. And you can choose if you want to include one of those, both of those, or neither of those. And those allow you to then go back and cross-reference those photo receipts to a particular expense in the report. So definitely take a look at that. Oh, and here it is, annotations, right there. You can include number, date, or both. This additional feature, which is include after report, which is if you're creating a PDF report and you're using PDF photo receipts, why not combine it all into one file? And if you do, click on this, you're going to get one PDF file. So at the very top will be your report, and followed by that will be all of your photo receipts, which is something which is a godsend for many people who just want to send one file to a particular accounting department instead of having one file for the expenses of the report and one for the photo receipts. So I think I've exhausted all the things I want to talk about. Definitely check out this optional name field. There's a whole cool feature behind that. Definitely use the company logo. That's very cool if you get into that. And then definitely explore the different templates because there's just too many to talk about here. We have a whole video on that. And I think that is all. And I've gone long, and I hope I can upload this to YouTube for all you to see. Thanks a lot.